Hello and welcome to ZeeZee Talks. My name is ZeeZee and I will be talking today about something that a couple actually had reached out to me about, something that's quite common in a couple of marriages all around the world. But before I went on to do all of that, I would just like to say a big thank you to every single person who reached out to me on my birthday. I would like to say a big thanks to my number one and only, my babe, Laddie, for being so kind to have made that day such a smooth one for me. I hope you guys enjoyed his message. I know I did. I have learned so much from him in all the years we've been together. He's such a light in my path, and I'm so grateful for him. And hey, I'm doing what I do because I want you to be that proud and that grateful for your spouse as well. And you'll get there even if you're not there. So once again, thanks all for everything, all the wishes, the presents, all the flowers. I'm so grateful. I am so blessed to have people like you in my life. So thank you. Thank you. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Like I mentioned, a couple reached out to me today about something that's really tearing them apart. They feel they want to know how to survive in their long distance relationship. They are married, they have been married for a couple of years, and they just wanted to understand how they could actually live this way and just survive, and let their marriage survive this distance apart. Now, not to be Captain Obvious or anything, but hey, I tend to be now and again. I'd like to say what I recommend. For every married couple out there listening to me, for everyone who's hoping to get married in the near future, I always recommend that you and your husband try as much as possible to be in the same place, because marriage is a unity of two different people to become one in mind, soul, one body as well. And I also believe that you are meant to be one physically, which means physically in the same country, same city, same house, and same rooms. That's just what I think helps a lot, because the more contact you have with your spouse, the closer you are to the closer the both of you are. And don't forget that distance doesn't necessarily make the heart fonder. Distance, what it causes is two different lives start all over again. So people who are in long distance relationships, I always suggest that whatever the case is, they try to kind of close the gap as much as possible. But again, because I like to be practical, I'd like to say that there's so many reasons why people are in long distance relationships today. It might be economic reasons, it might even be for health reasons. It could be just because someone decided they needed to go get a better degree or go to school and just get one degree, it could be for whatever reason. So I'm not gonna sit here and say you must be together in the same city all the time. No, the reality is you're not always going to be able to live together in the same city, and that's the truth. But I have a few things that I'd like to say on how you can survive if that is your situation. But I'd like to say, and this is not a disclaimer, it is what I think has helped a lot of marriages over the years. This long distance arrangement cannot be forever. So don't say, ZeeZee, how could I forever live apart from my spouse? I will say a big fat no. However, the number one thing that I advise that couples in a long distance relationship should do is have a plan, okay? Because the issue is a lot of couples do not have a plan. They just say, hey, I'm in school, let's see how it goes. If I get a job, I get a job. What about me joining you? Well, I don't know how things are going to be, blah blah blah. That's too open-ended. Like, who wants to be in a relationship where it's so open-ended, or a marriage where it's so open-ended, and I don't know if I'm ever going to live with my husband or my wife in the same city? So number one thing that I always advise is you should have a plan, because if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. There's just no way that the both of you are going to be able to build a home together if you don't have a plan. How long is this long distance thing going to go on for? Of course, you can't figure out every single situation. Of course, you're probably not going to be able to know the end of your plan. But what I'm stating here is at least have some sort of plan. So I'm going to go off to school for 2 years. right? So in that 2 years, you have a good job where we live, stay in your good job. So at least we're economically safe. I will go to school. And while I'm in school, I will look for work there. And if it's possible for me to get work there, then we start planning for you to join me. Or while I'm in school, I could file some papers and you could join me, whatever the case is. The point is you can't just say, hey, I'm off to school. See ya. No. That's not going to work. What's the plan? I'm going off because I have to go work in a better job. It takes a while before I can bring my spouse over. So while I go there, I'm going to start working on your paperwork and blah, 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 blah. Which then leads me to my second point. The second way you can survive a long distance marriage is you have to talk. All lines of communication have got to be open at all times. Listen, you're not supposed to just call your spouse once a month, once a week and say, hey, I'm here, I'm okay. No, like literally you have to treat your relationship as if you are in the same exact city. Thank God for things like Skype video. Thank God for things like free calls, text them and say, hey, I'm at work now, I'm just thinking of you, and at 7 p.m. have a set time when the both of you sit behind a computer and actually see each other and talk to each other. That helps a lot. So if it's like every 7 o'clock, I'm gonna meet up with my husband or my wife, we're gonna have a chat. It's just going to make it easier on the other person. Because the issue I find is most people take off and they're like, I was too busy, I couldn't call you. So a week has passed and 2 weeks. No, of course that's going to impact your relationship. What's going to end up happening is other little things start to kind of like slide in, and then more and more as the distance gets bigger, the fondness becomes not so very big. Good. So anyway, the point is you have to make room to talk with your spouse all the time, all the time. All the time. Text them a couple of times a day, speak to them. And even in cases where you're not able to speak to them, maybe a time difference issue or something, plan out something, for crying out loud. Something has to give. You're not going to have it perfect. You're not going to speak to them when you're able to, but make sacrifices. You might have to wake up 3 hours earlier than you normally do, or you just have to go to bed later than you normally do. Just whatever the case, talk every day. Good. So number 3 way you can survive a long distance relationship is you have to make your spouse know that they are top priority in your life. I am away from you, but you are so on my mind. You can send them gifts however you can. If people are traveling, send them gifts and just say, hey, look, I'm thinking about you. Why don't you just surprise them? Show up. Yes, as much as you can, as much as you're financially able to, visit your spouse as often as you can. That just shows them that they're constantly on your mind. Visit them. If you can visit, please don't just sit where you are and say, I can't afford it. Come on, sometimes money is not everything. Saving your relationship is more worth it than money. So as much as you can, you have to show up and show them they're a priority in your life, and you definitely want to make this thing work. So you'll do whatever it takes, and they'll really appreciate that. Good. So my 4th point, especially for married people who have children. Now, this is such a sensitive one. There's so many couples who are living in long distance marriages that have children, and the children are with one party or the other. I mean, it's mostly the women, but I don't play gender roles, so it could be the man as well. If you have children and you have to be in a long distance relationship, plan support for your spouse, the one who has the children with them. Just leaving them when you go and just say, hey, figure it out, it's quite difficult, right? Don't forget that when you got married, the whole point was to be each other's support system, right? Whether or not you live in a country where they have help staff or things like that, or a country that you don't, show them that it's important to plan support. Let your family come stay over now and again. Get them a nanny. Perhaps they need to hire a cook. Maybe they need to hire a chauffeur. I don't know. Just whatever the case is, you need to get your spouse who has the children support, because a lot of us have at least 1, 2, 3 kids. It's a lot for one person, even for one child. I know, I have 3 of them. 3! Anyway, even for one kid, it's quite involving to keep that kid, in a good environment with just one parent. So if you're married and you're going off somewhere, please plan support for your spouse that has the kids with them. And that's another great way to show them, hey, you know, I care and I love you and I really want to make this thing work. And then my last point is you have to keep focused on your plan. See, the most important reason I ask you to have a plan is a lot of times we have plans and then we get kind of side-railed, or we get kind of dejected, our plan's not working, it's taking forever, blah, blah. No, when you are in a long-distance relationship, focus on your plan. Keep focus. Hey, I'm here for 2 years, I'm gonna get my master's, my PhD, and then I'm gonna go home and then I'm gonna look for work and I'm gonna build my beautiful wife, my beautiful husband. Whatever the case is, you have to keep focused on the plan, because if you don't, you're going to definitely have those days that are hard. It's like, oh, I can't believe I'm here by myself. I feel like I'm a single dad. I feel like I'm a single mom, blah, 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 blah. Do whatever you can in the situation you are in, right? Do whatever you can to keep focused on the plan. So what I suggest, yourself in a good way. Use this time, if you're not working, to volunteer. Be a blessing in someone else's life. And when it's your turn, someone will be there to be a blessing to you. Get involved in the society. Know your new community. Don't just sit there and say, oh, the days aren't going by quick enough. No, you have to have a deliberate plan to keep focused on your main plan, because if not, you're just going to sit there, days are going to go by, they're not going to go by fast enough, and then you're going to get depressed and say, this woman has abandoned me, or this man has abandoned me. So please, please, whatever you do, keep focused on the plan. Get involved with things that will help take your mind off of things, and just, live a life that is full and rich. My belief is that we're meant to live in the present, and not in the future or in the past, because that's when those tricky and sticky situations start rising up, when we're so dejected and we're so sad. So try as much as you can to keep focused. When you have those days, it's normal to have those days. When you do have those days when you're a bit down, just encourage yourself, and hopefully your spouse is calling you every single day to encourage you and say, honey, don't worry, it's not forever, we will get past this. Okay, so you see the reason why I say having a long distance relationship is not supposed to be a forever thing. It's not. It's meant to be for a time, and then all you do is plan and plan how to close the gap and come back together as you are supposed to. So as usual, my name is ZeeZee. I am here because I'm vested in keeping your relationship together, whether it's long distance, whether it's in the same city, in the same house, whether it's in the same room. I am here to make sure that the both of you understand each other, know what it is to be in a solid relationship, and enjoy life. Because what is life if every day you're just fighting and fighting and fighting your spouse? It's just not enjoyable. You can be one. You can actually come together and be a formidable force. And I'm here for that. So don't forget to like this video if something in it resonated with you. Share with your friends and loved ones. And follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and of course on YouTube. You should subscribe. My handle is @ZeeZee Again, thanks for your time. It's always wonderful talking to you. And I love you all. Thanks again for my birthday wishes. Have a wonderful day, and I'll be back with you next week again. Take care.